Hello and welcome to the key assignment. This is the final assignment for CCHE 580, the Community College. My name is Renee Hastings and I'll be leading you through 6 modules that cover the contents of this course. Our module 1 that we'll look at will be getting to know community colleges. Module 2, what community colleges are all about. Module 3, working at a community college. Module 4, funding community colleges. Module 5, teaching and learning at community colleges. And Module 6, the future of community colleges. Module 1, we'll get to know the community college. First, we'll look at the history of community colleges. They were established in the 19th and early 20th centuries, first known as junior colleges, were seen as a problem solver for many people. And initially, when community colleges were enrolling students, they were white males, but as we'll see, that has changed. In the 1930s, there was vocational training was added. This opened up different opportunities for different class and walks of life for people and just helped diversity grow. Different programs are implemented, such as the American College Promise. There were 5 generations of the community college that I'll briefly cover. The first generation was 1900 to 1930. This was when community colleges were seen as junior colleges or called junior colleges, and they were extensions of public school. At that point, there were only 22 junior colleges in the U.S. By 1930, there were 440 community colleges, and accreditation commissions were beginning to get involved. The second generation was 1930 to 1950. Right in the middle of those 20 years, there were about 610 community colleges. By 1940, the average enrollment was 400 students. Different bills were passed, such as the GI Bill, to help veterans with tuition, and this funded community college growth. And community colleges began to outnumber private institutions at this point. The third generation was 1950 to 1970. More programs at universities were popping up to train community college administrators, and federal aid began to increase for community colleges. The fourth generation, 1970 to 1980, is another rapid round of growth where they're hit an all-time high of 1,200 community colleges. Diversity curriculum was necessary, vocational programs grew, and at this point, part-time students began to outnumber full-time students. And women began to outnumber men as far as enrollment. The fifth generation, 1985 to 2000, the number of new community colleges leveled off and remains about the same today, and enrollment continues to grow as community colleges are adapting. Current community colleges, we look at the comprehensive community college. In this type of college, both general education and technical courses are offered. 2-year degrees and transfer programs. Some states keep their workforce and vocational and general educational programs together, while other campuses separate them. 5 reasons to attend a community college. It's generally affordable. There are technical programs for those who don't like to study and do book work. There's flexible schedules, veterans benefits, and it's often looked at as a second chance for those who didn't do so great in the lower grades or high school. Governance of community colleges. In the state of Arizona, there are 3 governance systems. For the universities, it's the Arizona Board of Regents. For the local community college, it's the local district governing boards. And for the lower elementary to high school, it's the State Board of Education. Governance structures tend to occur at state or local district levels. Some states the state has a lot of authority over the community college, and other states, the state and federal involvement is lower. And there's more local governing with governing boards, chief executive officers, or also a chancellor with an executive officer who oversees things. In general governance structures, the governing board is usually 5 to 9 people. They meet monthly. These meetings must be public. It is recommended that legal counsel be present. Federal government, they're involved in the regulation of financial aid and different laws such as Title IX and grants and workforce development. Module 2, what community colleges are all about. In Arizona, community colleges are generally governed by local district boards. There are 10 community college districts, the largest in Tucson and Phoenix, and there can be federal and or state regulation depending on the community college. Community college, the services and economic development they offer to the community are things like art galleries, theaters and sports, small business courses, free gym use, free laboratory, libraries or computer labs, and tutoring or volunteer work. And this involves the school with the community. Organizational structures within a community college. There's 4 primary areas, usually the president of the college, academic affairs, student affairs, and administrative services. The president of the college looks at fundraising, represents the college, internal and external affairs, and usually has a team of people that they work with to get everyday kind of administrative details taken care of. Academic affairs that works with course scheduling, both credit and non-credit, the college's organizational structure, and hires full-time and part-time faculty. Student affairs is student enrollment, outreach, matriculation, and advising services. Administrative services is a large branch that covers financial matters, facilities, marketing, tuition and fees, budgeting, and also includes IT and human resources. Module 3, working in a community college. So at a national perspective, when we're looking at full-time faculty, there's tenured. This is allows for job security, but also for quality education for students. There's tenure track, which is on probation, kind of on the way to tenure, but not there, and non-tenure track, which is for visiting temporary and part-time positions. Challenges of replacing senior faculty, many are retiring. There's a shortage in graduate training for community college teaching, and an increase in technology can be a drawback for some faculty. Community college employment, if you're applying for a position at a community college, you want to look at what you can bring to the table. You want to know the institution where you're applying. You want to be open-minded and diversity and service-based mindset, consistency in your teaching, and confidence in yourself. Module 4 is funding the community colleges. Main sources are bonds, grants, private donations, partnerships with businesses, and lobbying to raise money. In Arizona specifically, property taxes play a role. This is not the case in all states. There's also state aid, tuition and fees, a fund balance, and other grants or contracts. Funding for community colleges, they receive generally less than 4-year institutions, and this can decrease student retention. Only 18% of funding usually comes for the federal government to community colleges, so an increase in grants would be helpful. Other sources is various federal grants, like I said, could be available. This would decrease this $8,800 student gap between community college students and 4-year students that exist. We could also adjust state appropriations, which would decrease the gap as well, leaving more money to be put towards students in community colleges. Module 5 is teaching and learning in a community college. This is some terminology you can look over that's associated with community college education. Workforce development and workforce growth is something that includes technology and helps to build student skills specifically in a certain area. Also communication, professionalism, and public speaking. Accreditation is important. There are generally 2 tracks, eligibility and process and candidacy, and then an accelerated process. One of the institution or the organizations that we'll look at is called the Higher Learning Commission. This is an independent corporation, one of 7 regional accreditors, and it accredits institutions of higher education. They have a mission statement and a vision, a board of trustees, and the Higher Learning Commission uses peer reviewers in its accreditation process. There are some factors that affect curriculum in community college. It's state and university articulation, course availability, the rate of transfer students, accreditation, and some external agencies affect what type of curriculum is offered. Articulation, partnerships, and alternative delivery, specifically at NAU, they offer a 90-30 program where 90 credits can be taken at a community college with 30 credits to be taken at Northern Arizona. And this helps to guide students onto a path to a bachelor's degree. Module 6, the future of community colleges. There's some issues and trends. Issues can do with data security and digital learning because so much is done online. Trends obviously is distance learning, but also taking a look at how minority groups are affected with the cost and lack of support that can be found. And we really need more money put from the state into community colleges to help with these issues. Ways to increase student enrollment. We want to do increase student-driven experiences, hybrid events, stay current, and decrease difficulty for students to get what they need. And finally, the purpose of the community college is a springboard for higher education. It's inexpensive, it's accessible, diversified for people from many walks of life, both career and technological programs, transfer programs, and good academic services. Overall, the community colleges can be a great stepping stone, both from high school and then later in life, to help people increase their training, their education, and their career options. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Please refer to the following slides for citations and websites.